Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming by tonight. Welcome to the movement. We are the movement, a motivational organization geared to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. As Annette so affectionately says as she rolls her neck each and every week, we are a movement to move. We don't stay still. We are meant to move. We are the movement, a movement to move. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living your best life and win. We tapped into a winner's mindset, a winner's formula, and a winner's just way of life. And we want to share that with you all because we want to see you win. Right, Annette?
Correct, Anita. You are a part of the winning circle, and we're here tonight to share pearls of wisdom and enlighten you and help you get to the next level. So come on this journey with us tonight. Thank you.
All righty. Well, our topic tonight is very befitting in lieu of the fact that we've, been dealing with this crazy hurricane, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims in the Bahamas.
Yes.
I can't even begin to imagine what they have suffered. It is definitely not something that I would ever have wanted to go through myself. To that magnitude, I've never had to, and I'm grateful that God spared us. But I'm also, very moved by the fact that those people were not spared and that they had to endure that for so many hours. And just to let you know, the movement, along with Potage, which is Peeling the Onion Journey by Brenda Jackson, and our Eat Well, Live Well, Be Well organization, we're going to partner together to gather items. And we've already had some people starting to drop some things off. I haven't done an email yet. We're going to do an email tonight and a couple of posts tonight so that you could drop your items off to Annette, myself, or Brenda. Annette, I do have an organization for the stuff that you get from there. We have an organization that we're going to make sure that our stuff gets where it needs to go.
Okay.
So we want to just, and if you don't know what to get, you can always send us some money and we can get those things because they need certain items. The canned goods, they need pop off canned goods if you can get those because they don't have can openers. They have nothing. And, of course, canned goods is always one of the main things, but now they're specifically asking for the ones that you can pop open with, with the pull tab.
Wow.
All right. So in lieu of that tonight, we're going to talk about, we're dealing with the topic, peace be still. We all know the story of the winds and the waves that were raging, and the disciples were afraid, and they were like, carest thou not that we perish? And, Jesus was just snoozing. He was chilling. And a lot of times when we're dealing with storms in our lives, we're just like that. So we're going to talk about it from a lot of different aspects because storms, I heard Bishop Curry say this. He used to say this all the time. No one is immune to storms. You're either on your way into one, you're in one already, or you just came out of one.
Yeah.
However, no one is immune to them. Everybody in life is going to have some storms. We're all going to go through storms. We're all going to have problems. We're all going to have troubles. But the thing is, we know that the storm is temporary. And they come in many shapes, sizes, characteristics. I mean, let me tell you, just the regular storms, when you look at storms from the scientific aspect, we have thunderstorms, hailstorms, ice storms, snowstorms, blizzard storms, rainstorms, windstorms, dust storms, sandstorms.
Okay.
Those are just some of them. The physical ones, and then we have the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, the typhoons.
Yeah.
These are just the literal storms. And then in our lives, I think that there is a storm in our life that is synonymous to the storms, to the literal storms, because we have storms that come in our lives. I call them storms of sorrow. When life deals us the experience of loss, we find ourselves in what's called a storm of sorrow. We have the storms of decision, doubt, tension, and uncertainty. When we're not sure, when we get to that place that we don't know what to do, and when we're at a crossroads in life and we don't know which path to take, we sometimes will end up in what I call a storm of decision and doubt and tension and uncertainty. Then there's also the storms of worry, where we worry ourselves, we worry for others, we worry about the unknown future, we worry about the things that we shouldn't worry about. We worry about love. We worry about, am I going to be rich? We worry about, how am I going to pay my bills? And we worry about all of these things. And all of these things are things that we can't control. And I think that a lot of us experience this storm on a daily basis, the storm of worry.
Yes.
So tonight, I'm going to share with you guys our presentation. We have a great discussion that we want to, kind of jump into. And I started finding all kinds of songs. I remember back in the day, we used to listen to the radio on Sundays. Remember that? Remember those days?
Yeah.
I don't listen to the radio on Sundays anymore because the radio on Sundays is just ridiculous nowadays. I mean, we have one little station down here that, played decent kind of music on Sunday mornings, but I remember we used to listen to, it was all the quartet. Oh gosh, we would hear so much quartet from the South. And that, I've been in the storm too long. I know you know that song. Thank you. So we would have these. I remember that song. That song came up in my mind when we started. When I first started talking about, actually started putting this together.
Yeah.
My little presentation here. When I started putting this lesson together, I thought about that song. I was like, I remember that song. It came on every Sunday morning like clockwork. I've been in the storm too long. And I'm like, is he ever going to get out of the storm? My mom was quick with it. She was one of those that always had something smart to say. And she couldn't stand quartet music. She really couldn't.
She didn't like it.
She didn't like it. She said he played church.
Well, some truth to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to it. So now we're going to get into just to talk about, the whole aspect of storms, because, I know that a lot of us have, if we're not right now, we have, or we will, or we are, because I know me, I've experienced, I can, you ever heard somebody say, I can smell the rain coming?
Yes.
It's like, you get a sixth sense about the fact that something's about to happen. Yeah. You'll be in a great friendship with somebody, and then out of nowhere, they just start tripping. Like, what? Really? So you just gonna come at me like that, and it'll catch you off guard. It's like, I don't understand where this is coming from. I don't understand why this person is acting this way, because everything was fine. We were good, and then all of a sudden, she just started tripping. Or you'll be on your job, and you think you're doing such a great job, and all of a sudden, your boss comes in, and nothing's right. It's like they had a bad day, and they're just taking it out on you. And it's like, what, really? So you're going to trip out on me like this now? And I know that a lot of us deal with that. So if you find yourself in the storms of life from time to time, or if you're in a storm now, or if you just came out of a storm, just think about the storms that we have been dealing with, that we mentioned, the literal storms. And I want you to put that storm in the chat. Whether you feel like you just came out of a tornado, a tsunami, a hurricane, a hailstorm, a rainstorm, a windstorm, or whatever, I want you to type your storm in the chat. Oh, exactly what I'm experiencing right now with a friend. Let me tell you, it happens. And those are warning signs. You get those signs when they start acting funny for no reason. It's like, we didn't even have a falling out. Like, why? How come all of a sudden we got an issue? I never knew we had an issue. And then you realize, oh, wow, we have an issue. So sometimes, I don't know, I think I just came out of a hurricane. I really do. Literal and spiritual. And there are times that, like when you think about the storm, sorry about that, y'all. When you think about the storm that you're riding in tonight, that storm is symbolic of how things are functioning in your life. A tornado comes in and it just like, the tornado, you don't know the path. It just comes in and it just like massacres whatever's in sight, and it's gone. And it doesn't really even last long. A hurricane, it's coming. You ducking and dodging. You're putting up your shutters. You're getting all your stuff, and you're getting things together. You're trying to counteract it. You're trying to stop it. You're trying. Oh goodness, I'm trying to. And then all of a sudden, you can't even. You can't do anything. It's there. It's coming. You see it. You know it. It's coming. You and Yolanda both said hailstorms.
Wow.
Sharon says she's been in a tsunami. She's in a tsunami now. So those storms can come, and before you know it, you're in it. You can't do anything about it. And, you know, I just want to tell you tonight, and a friend said this to me one time. I was going through some things, and, you know, I would always have a smile on my face. I would always find and muster up the strength to not be, you know, taken aback by my issues. And she said to me, Anita, she said, the only thing I just keep getting for you is peace, be still. Peace, be still. That's all I'm getting is peace, be still. I know it's stormy right now. It's windy right now, but trust me, peace is coming. And that really ministered to me when she said that to me, and it was something so simple. And of course, sometimes it'll come across a little cliche because, you know, these are statements that we hear all the time. We've heard them before. We sang them, Master, the tempest is raging. So we understand, you know, the magnitude of church stuff. We know how to do church very well. So when somebody comes to you and says something like, weeping may endure for a night, you know, you're like, oh, the joy comes in the morning. Because you know the scripture. Like, but I don't want to hear that right now, because right now I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And that's not helping me. I mean, it's great. Trust me. I already know what the word says, but right now you ain't helping me being real deep. So sometimes people can come across real deep, and it really can bother you. But I want you to understand something. We're going to go into our discussion, and just like I talked about earlier about how you can tell, you can smell, it's like you can smell it. You know it's coming. You know it's out on the water. And sometimes even you will experience, and you know, I put Storm Tracker because I was watching the Storm Tracker for the hurricane, and I have the app on my phone, and I downloaded that app a few years ago when we had a really bad hurricane here, Irma, and I wanted to watch. I wanted to like monitor what was going on because I had my mom, and you know, we had to make provision. We had to do things, and it was pretty bad. But when I was watching the storm, my sister called me and she was like, well, what is the weather like? I said, sunny and nice. It's that calm before the storm.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it's just like that. It's like things are just going too good. You wake up, you're like, oh, I'm just having a good day. Oh, it's just nice. I'm enjoying life right now. Just having a good time, good old time. There's a calm before the storm. And when you look at that, it's like, sometimes it's like you see it, you smell it, you smell the rain, but you're hoping that it doesn't come. Just like we were this weekend with the hurricane. We saw it, and it wasn't that far from us. It was right offshore. And trust me, those of us who live in Florida, those of us who deal with hurricanes and have dealt with hurricanes and lived through them and had the lights turned off, you know, that's one of the worst things is when your lights get turned off and you have to deal without power for like weeks at a time. I mean, I haven't had that long, but I've at least had like 4 or 5 days without power. I know people who have been weeks and weeks without power. Like my mom was before when the hurricane hit Daytona back in the early 2000s, and they were without power for like 2 weeks or so. But there are some people I've known that have been without power for months in the storm. And imagine the people who were in Puerto Rico with Irma when they were almost a year without power. That's a long time to have no electricity. Something that we deal with, something that we depend on. But when we started seeing the storm come, and we prepare, sometimes our preparation is not, good enough. But sometimes people will get thrown off because of the fact that it's calm before the storm. Oh, ain't no hurricane coming. The sun is shining. It's so beautiful. And then in 2 hours, the sky is pitch black. And you're like, yeah, because you didn't prepare. So you have to be cognizant and be your own storm tracker, because there's always going to be a calm before the storm. Now, I want to talk about, different storms while we're tracking the storms, because we talked about some of the storms, the types of storms. When we first started, having this discussion tonight, we started talking about, the thunderstorms, the tornadoes, the tsunamis, the storm of worries, the storm of this, the storm of that. But I want to talk about a storm of redirection. Sometimes we find ourselves in a storm because we're in a difficult position or situation that will move you away from the goal you were pursuing. And you're forced to take a completely different path. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
That happened to us in that.
Oh, big time.
Oh, we had it all figured out, didn't we? Oh, but the storm of redirection came about and said, wait a minute.
I'm telling you, we're supposed to be multimillionaires right now, Nita.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, but it didn't work.
There's a whole lot of stuff that you have to do.
Yes.
Are we prepared? No. Not even halfway prepared for what is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Just imagine if we were in the middle of all of that stuff right now. Would we be able to handle it? Absolutely.
God.
Not prepared. So the path that we were on, and then sometimes you're on a path and then, you know, we don't see what's ahead, but God does, and he changes the direction.
Yeah.
And when this happens, oftentimes we become confused and we start to question. And then we just question. But I want you to be encouraged, because the path ahead of you, God sees. You do not see the end from the beginning. He does. And sometimes, you know, we have to understand, like we said, you're either going into one, you're in one, or you're coming out of it. God allows storms to happen so that you can change your direction, to set a new path, or to be an example to someone else.
Yeah.
And we have to be mindful of that. There's another one I want to talk about, which is the storm that checks your faith. You may be on the right path and didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right. But a storm can still come into your life unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And this type of storm will check your faith. Talk about knowing who to call when you're in trouble. That's when you know who your real friends are. I was having this conversation with Carrie and Regina on the way to, when I was taking them to the train station the other day, and she was saying how, you know, there are some friends, you know, that are those no matter what friends. And then there are some friends that, you know, they have some conditions. It don't mean they don't love you, you know, but it ain't but a few people that's going to be that friend that no matter what time of night, day, the situation, whatever it is, they ain't going to tell you where the baby's sleep. I can't come out right now. No, they're going to put that baby in a blanket and they're going to get in the car and they're going to come to your rescue. You don't have many of those. And when you're in a storm that checks your faith, this is when you will definitely know. And God will show you that he is your source. Let me tell you, that unexpected storm, that thing that gets you off guard, that's those tornadoes where you know, you don't get the warning until it's on the ground. And you don't know where it's going in that few minutes that it's there. And it just takes you like boom, like that. You don't know what it's going to hit. At least with a hurricane, you got a general idea. You know before that hurricane comes that it's coming. You sitting there watching it. But that tornado, you have no warning at all. You might have a few seconds to find shelter or to find yourself a safe place. But you don't have long, and you have, you know, ain't no shutters. There's nothing that's going to, you know, deter that. You just have to weather that puppy. That's something. Then there's a storm of release. There's some storms that will release you from the situation that you've gotten yourself in.
Yeah, we create our own storms, don't we?
Yes. You're in the situation that you created, people. You did that. You married him. You married her.
Oh,
you quit that job and went on to another job. It's going to be good over here. Ain't nobody hold no gun to your head. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to go that way. Ain't nobody hold no gun to your head.
Come on, man.
You did that all by yourself.
Yes.
You got in the storm, and now you're in a storm that's going to release you from the mess that you got yourself into.
Yes. Ooh, come on now. You're saying something.
This is where the breakthrough is. The breakthrough is there, but the obstacles are preventing you from elevating yourself to another level and keeping you grounded. And this is when God has to step in and bring a storm that disrupts everything around you and your situation to release you by breaking all of the barriers around you. Oh, come on, somebody.
Come on.
That's where the breakthrough is. The breakthrough is in the storm. And a lot of times we're trying to so bad to get out of it and run from it. But the storm is designed to break the barriers around you, to release you from your situation. Oh, goodness. Goodness. How many of you feeling that tonight?
Yes. Yes.
I'm feeling this tonight. Let me tell you, you're not immune to them. They're coming. You just don't know which one is coming. You don't know how many. You don't know when. And you don't know how long you're going to be in it. Oh, but trust me, the storm is coming.
It's coming. Oh, yeah.
But just like it's coming and just like it came, the storm will go. So
yeah.
we're gonna deliver y'all out of the storm for a minute, but we need y'all to be there for a few seconds longer. So I'm gonna let Annette go on and break it down a little more for you.
Oh, we want to talk about storm surge. It's an abnormal rise of water generated by a storm over or above the tides. There will be some things will happen that's abnormal in your life. You thought you had it all lined up, everything. You know, I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this, and then by this time I'm gonna be there. But that's not how it goes. And so in the storm surge, you have the unexpected. The unexpected, unforeseen, and surprising. In the storm surge, when you go on the beach, you see the tide. And you know, if you've ever been on the beach, and sometimes you walk so far, and then you got that dip. And that's how life is. You walking along, and all of a sudden you get that little dip, and you fall. So there will be unexpected things in your life. And like Anita said earlier, everything be going along fine. But all of a sudden, you got a surprise coming. You got a bill you didn't know about. Your car needs to be fixed.
Come on, preacher.
Unexpected situations. But you got to remember, even though it's unexpected, you still got to remember the vision.
Come on.
When you got a vision, it's not going to say everything's going to go the way you want it to. So there are unexpected, unforeseen, surprising things that happen when you're on this journey. But then there's uncertainty. You're not completely confident or sure of something. So, but in life, there will be times that you're uncertain. We talked about this earlier, how when we started this organization, we had it all together, but all of a sudden, uncertainty hit us. And we was not as confident as we were. We still knew that we were called, but we lacked a certain amount of confidence. That was unexpected and uncertainty hit us. And so know that life is valuable. You got this, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of you don't have confidence. Just, you know what? Sometimes when I'm going through, I'm a weirdo. I just go to bed. I say, you know what, God, it's going to be better in the morning. So you're going to have unexpected situations. You're going to have a storm surge, but not only that, it's going to be unusual. Have you ever had just an unusual situation?
Yeah.
You've been through some stuff, but you've never been through that. Like, God, where did that come from? I didn't see that. Blindsided me. Unusual means that it's odd, it's offbeat, it's rare, it's strange, it's abnormal. So there will be abnormal times in your life, unusual, because a surge come out of nowhere. You know there's a storm coming, but you don't always expect the surge, because the surge will be there for a minute and it'll go away. It'll be there for a minute. So it's a surge. It means it happens over and over again. So just know in life there will be storm surges, unexpected, uncertainty, and unusual. But know that it's understandable. Because the Bible said all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are the called according to his purpose. So if you're called, there are going to be some things that you just got to go through. Just know that it's understandable. I got to go through. The key is I'm going through. So even though unexpected things happen, uncertainty, unusual, just know that you're still going through. So God, I don't like it, but I understand that this is where I am now, but this is not where I'm going to stay. God, I don't like it. And I understand that, God, you're trying to get me somewhere. So Anita said it earlier. Sometimes we got to get in the storm so we can be delivered. We get in the storm so we can understand. We get in the storm because it causes us to think different. I was looking at the news, and And I was looking at the people who were running around and getting boards and doing everything, so because what was happening, it was some unexpected, but they understood that there was a process that they had to go through. The storm is coming, but I'm trying to get ready. So they understood that even though I don't know what's going to come, I understand enough to know that I'm going to board up my house. I'm going to get snacks. I'm going to do whatever I need to do because the storm is coming. So just know it's unexpected. Uncertainty, unusual, but yet it's understandable. We don't always like it. We don't always agree with it, but it's understandable because this is the reason I use that, because if he did it before, I don't know how many storms that God had brought me through. So each storm taught me a lesson. So I guarantee you, Sharon Green, that storm you're going through right now is just God taking you through something to get you somewhere, to have you understand that I got this, regardless of what it looks like. You got to know that you have the victory. You have what you take. Remember the vision. Remember life is valuable. Remember you are valuable. And remember that you have the victory. So regardless of the storm surge, you got this, baby. I don't care. The storm comes to rain. Even now, even though the hurricane, the storm has gone, we still have residual. We still have a little bit. It's still raining. So you may have a little residual issues even after the storm, but God said, I'm just trying to get you somewhere. So just know that you will survive the storm surge. So, and also the storm brings a time of refreshing.
Yes.
There's a time of refreshing. There's a time that you can sit back and say, God, I've been through this storm. It caused me heartache. But he said, but through this storm, I'm clearing your path. There are some things that needs to be cleared in your life. There's a tree in my yard. It's a big tree too. And so anytime there's a storm, I kind of like, because my garage, I can't put my car in the garage. And so I think it was Irma. And I had told them, I said, we need to cut this tree. We need to do this. But let me tell you something. Irma came, and when Irma got through at Daytona Beach, there wasn't a leaf on the tree. So sometimes things have to happen to clear your path. Because, see, because the way the tree is, we couldn't see around the tree. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't see because our house, where we live at, is like going around a curve. And so we couldn't always see the cars when we were backing out. But when Irma came, Irma stripped the tree. And sometimes there are some things that have to be stripped in your life to clear your path so you'll see where you're going. We know we're going somewhere, but somewhere along the line, we lose our way. Mm-hmm. You lose, you say, well, God, I know I'm supposed to go this way, but God, show me. I'm sure Anita been there. There have been times you got a vision, you got a plan, but you say, okay, God, I know what's on this paper. Mm-hmm. And God, I trust you, but right now I need you to show me. I need you to direct my plan. God, I need you to clear everything out of the way so I'll make sure I get to the next level in you. Because that's what the wind does. That's what the rain does. That's what the hail does. It clears the way. When Irma was nothing like, well, for us, like this hurricane. And I went down with Evans, where his church is located at. And when I say, if I didn't know that street, I would not recognize it.
My God.
Because the trees were everywhere. But then I went back a week later, and so God had allowed them to clear the path so you can get where you need to be. And sometimes trees be in the way, and sometimes life be in the way. Sometimes bills are in the way, spouses in the way, heartache is in the way, disappointment is in the way. But God will clear that path because you need to be refreshed and renewed. So just know that he's clearing your path. But also what happens in time of refreshing, he increases your strength. Mm-hmm. Life will just suck everything out of you.
Who are you telling?
Life will cause you to not even want to get up in the morning.
Okay.
So when you're going through storms, whether it's health, whether it's your finances, whether it's death, just know that God has what it takes for you to overcome it. So that's that time of refreshing. That's that time that you can sit back and reflect, say, phew, God, I made it through that. God, I thank you. It's interesting about us. God did it before, but sometimes we forget that he could do it again. Because when you're going through, you forget about what was. All you know is, God, I'm just going through. I'm just so tired. But every storm that I've gone through, every situation that I had to face, all the tears, the frustration, the aggravation, whatever, it increased my strength. So that thing that may have bothered me 2 years ago don't bother me no more. It's certain things that's not going to bother me. Like if I have a bill that I should be hyperventilating, oh Lord, oh God, oh what you listen, I ain't got the money. I
ain't doing anything about it.
Yeah, I don't have it. And so we cause ourselves so much turmoil. But if you understand that even if you take a second, look over your life and say, God, you know what? I'm not worried about that no more. Now I do worry about other stuff, but if certain things don't bother me no more. If I don't have the money, I don't have the money. Do I want to be in the dark? No. But you know what? If it happens, it happened. What I'm going to do, I'm going to either go to one of my kids' house, and if I don't want to stay there, I get hot, I get a book and fan. I got to do what I got to do. So what it does, it increases my strength, and it causes me for a time of refreshing and give me peace. It's that peace that surpasses all understanding. You don't know that peace unless you know God. It's just because there's certain things, I don't care if you don't have God. That's why it surpasses all understanding, because how can I have peace when everything is tore up around me? How can I have with the Bahamas when it's 150-mile wind? How can I have peace when I'm on the second floor and water is up there with me? But that's a peace that only God can give you, and that increases your strength. But also there's a time of refreshing. It's a time of renovation of your vision. See, you have to look at that vision and brush it off.
Yeah.
Anything else, if you leave bread in your kitchen too long, it's gonna get stale. So you got to take that vision and you got to renovate it. And you have to look at your vision and say, now, what is the purpose? I look at my vision. What am I called to do? What are we going to do, Anita? What are we going to do with the movement? What's next? The vision is beautiful. The logo is wonderful. But should we go back and take it to the table and say, okay, God, because the renovation of my vision should be able to inspire somebody. When somebody look at the movement, it should be memorable. When they see it, whether it's a word on it or not, if we don't open our mouth, they need to know, hey, this is the movement. It's a movement to move, immediately, because we talk about it, we do it every way. When people just immediately go to do it in the net, because that's what it is. It should be future casting. In other words, what's the purpose? What's the real reason? What do we plan to do 2 years down the road, 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road? And also need to be motivated, and it should be purpose driven. So you may need to go and take your vision off the shelf, dust it off, because some of us, it's just like our Bibles. It got dust on it. We only pick it up on Sunday, but I'm not here to talk about that. So we need to revise our vision, renovate it, make it new, make it pop, make it stand out, make a difference. If somebody see 10 logos, they should look at our logo and say, man, I'm not sure what they do, but that's tight right there. Some people will only see visually what you are giving them until you're able to tell them, vocally. So it's a renovation of your vision. And finally, it storms. This means simply this: it's a seasonal time of refreshing my situation.
Oh, and
it's a seasonal time. I
don't have no paper towel to throw
my situation. Because life comes in seasons.
My.
So storm is a time to refresh my situation. I've been in this thing too long. So the storm had to come in my season. See, because it may not be your season. It may not be, next week may not be your season, but trust me when I tell you that the season will come. It's a seasonal time. Okay, God, it's my time for refreshing. It's my time to be restored. It's my time to be delivered. It's my time. So storms are seasonal times of refreshing.
Yeah.
My situation. I'm making this thing personal. My situation. Because I don't have to go through that no more. I don't have to go through that disappointment no more. I don't have to go through that heartache no more. I don't have to go through that financial situation no more. There may be other things, but that thing is gone.
Exactly.
So it's gone. So it's a time of refreshing, clearing your path, increase your strength, renovation of your vision, and your storm, seasonal times of refreshing my situation. Amen and amen.
Wow. That right there. Wow.
Amen.
You know what? When we come to our place where we understand that the sun is going to shine again on our situation, it's hard to see it that way. Now, I saved it for last tonight because I wanted to, bring it into my last thoughts for this discussion for a reason. Because, a lot of us have been going through, and, what I didn't want to do tonight, because we're, like kind of debating whether or not we're going to even be able to do this broadcast tonight because of the weather that has been, threatening our state. And we had the possibility of being without lights, which I'm so glad that did not happen. So, because when the lights go off in Florida, they be off. And I'm glad that didn't happen so that we were able to come on. And so in contemplating our discussion for tonight and studying for it, this particular thing, I just couldn't get past the peace be still. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, so it's so weird because both of those statements mean the same thing, kind of, sort of. So I'm going to break it down. The funny thing about the word peace was that there was no transitive tense for this word.
Wow.
It was the intransitive. Remember, the intransitive, it just is. It doesn't need any movement or whatever. It just is, and it's set. When it's transitive, there's movement and motion and connection, that there's nothing that's between you and it that can stop you. You're going to continue to move forward regardless. But when it's intransitive, it just is what it is, period. So intransitively, the word peace means to be, become, or keep silent or quiet. It just is peace. So when I looked at be still says to become motionless or silent, quiet, which meant the same thing. However, that is the intransitive definition. It just is. When peace is there, it just is peaceful. It's going to come to quiet. It just is. It is silent, or it's going to become, because that is what Jesus said. He stepped out to the winds and waves and he said, peace. Be still. But when you look at it transitively, it means to put an end to it. That means it's settled. Oh my goodness. And when I looked at that, y'all, I was like, oh my God, I didn't see that. I didn't see it like that. I didn't see it like that. But when I looked at it for what it was, it made so much more sense to me. Because a lot of times we think that when we're in it, that it's never going to cease. It's settled. If he said, because it's not, when he says it's over, guess what? It's over.
It's over.
Period. That settles it. And when he says it's over, the sun will come out. And you have to understand that that storm that you're in right now, it is not forever. Storms aren't forever. Sharon, that tsunami you're in, it won't last always. It is not forever. The sun will come out. Why? Because it's not meant to last forever. And because he said he is the one that is able to step out to the winds and waves and say, peace, be still.
Peace. Come on.
He knows how much we can handle. And remember, depending on what type of storm we're in, it will depend on how long that storm is. And sometimes, like a tsunami just keeps moving. And it keeps moving, and it keeps moving, and it keeps moving, and it keeps moving. You remember when the tsunami hit over in Thailand?
Yeah.
It just kept moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving. And it's like, oh my God, is it going to stop? It went all through the whole city. I remember watching the one on television. There was somebody that filmed the one that hit Japan, that little area in Japan where it annihilated an entire city. And it just kept moving and moving and moving. And that's how a tsunami is. Whereas a hurricane, you see it coming. It's on its way, and it's like you got to prepare. You got to hunker down. Tornado, you don't have the warning. Rainstorms, thunderstorms, showers, ice storms. Hail is a trip. Hail be knocking you upside the head and beating everything up. And, you know, you have the ice storms and the snowstorms and the blizzards, wind storms, dust storms, sandstorms, all these different storms. And your life, your storms in your life are uniquely designed for whatever situation you're in. And remember, God allows the storms to come. They're doing so many different things. But when it's over, it's over. It is not designed to last forever. And I want you all to type in the words, peace be still, because somebody needs to hear that. Just like I did when my friend said that to me, I was like, you know, for a split second, I was like, peace be still. Okay. And then I thought about it. Wow. Okay. Peace be still. It's going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but when it lifts, it's just going to be nice and sunny. The sun will come out and everything will be fine, because that storm was never meant nor designed to last forever. Trouble doesn't last always. It doesn't. The other thing is, and Annette alluded to this earlier, is that you start cleaning up the debris. After Hurricane Irma hit, the entire neighborhood was outside picking up branches and sweeping. Wow. There was a house across the street from us. I mean, they got that thing done so quick. I got jealous. And me and Lily were outside, and I'm dragging tree branches, and she dragging stuff, and we're putting it in the dumpster. And I was like, I want ours to look like this. I mean, they got out there and completely cleaned their area. They brought out the pressure cleaner, and they cleaned off their sidewalk. I mean, it was elderly people, and they got that thing. I was like, well, shoot, we're gonna do the same thing. Because normally I would just let it sit there. I ain't gonna lie, but it made me feel good to be able to get up and drag the debris from out of the yard. And there was a big tree branch in my backyard that I had to pull out. So I pulled all of the debris, and I walked around and assessed the damage, and was able to, you know, tell the insurance company and stuff so that they could come out and do their job. They had to come and fix a tile on the roof and a couple of other things. But it felt good to be able to clean up the debris. And we learned from you earlier in that sometimes there are a lot of trees, a lot of unneeded branches. Like a lot of those branches were probably old and needed to be pruned off the tree. Yeah. And when there's debris and there's a whole lot of stuff that you have to clean up, the downed trees and the leaves and all of the trash and everything else, it feels good when you're able to clean that stuff up. It feels good to be able to have, like, you know, because I felt good being able to bring all of the trash in one spot so that when the people came in to pick it up, they could pick all of that stuff and load it up. Because when the storm was over, there was like trash on the side of the road in front of everybody's house. It looked a mess. But when they came and loaded that trash away and everybody got their yards back right and everybody pressure cleaned their sidewalk and we were able to get, you know, all of the stuff fixed, everything got, you know, everything was good. It was nice. And so we had that nice feeling that you feel even after the storm. That's the beauty after rebuilding. Yes. That beauty that comes after a rainstorm. When everything starts, when the sun shines again, and when everything looks good and everything is feeling good and you're back in motion and you feel, you know, that calmness. But there's something else I want you to understand is that even though we have these storms, people, even though we have the struggles and we're going to go through things, you remember, you're never going to be immune. Even though we do, we have a rainbow reminder. See that beautiful rainbow behind it on the picture there? That's a promise. That's a covenant that God made with us. Yeah. So when I looked at, you know, of course, we've all read about the covenant of the rainbow and that God his promise on earth to earth is that he would never again destroy it by a great flood. Now, the physical reminder, of course, is the rainbow. Even though the environment is harsh, we have hurricanes and floods and tsunamis and tornadoes, and it feels like it's a repeat of the destruction. Even what we experienced or what we witnessed, what the people experienced in Abaco Island, it was It reminded you of that time. It reminded you of that worldwide destruction. But I guarantee you that somewhere in the midst of all of that, there is a rainbow in the midst of the clouds that's a reminder of the promise. Because even though it sat there for 2 days, it's not still there. He moved that storm away. Now, we don't know why all of that happened. I'm not here to be all deep and wondrous and say, anything about, what God meant to do or what his message was, because I don't know. Yeah. I just wish it would never have happened, honestly, because that is so devastating. I can't imagine what those people went through. I'm going to do everything in my power to help. I'm going to volunteer for a couple of things. I'm even going to the church to help pack up stuff. I'm doing a lot of things that, and I'm gathering items. But at the end of the day, that's a little piece that I can do to help, because I don't wish that on anyone. So I don't know why that happened, but we all know that there are things that just happen. Yeah. And God allows things to happen. And, maybe we'll know in that great getting up morning. But at this point, we don't know. But what we do know is that the storm, it passed. It had its moment. And guess what? There have been many other places and countries that have gone through destruction and devastation like that. Remember Hurricane Andrew?
Oh, gosh, yes.
And people rebuilt. Even in Puerto Rico, people were vacationing there a few months after the storm, when they got there, when they started getting partial electricity. Even when the Bahamas was torn, and it's not the first time the Bahamas has had a bad hurricane. It's the worst of its kind in that area of the Bahama Islands, because it hit the Abaco Islands and Freeport. But Nassau and Providence and all of those areas have had very bad storms that just completely annihilated the whole beach. Cable Beach, I remember one year I went there in the early 2000s. It was beautiful, built up all these beautiful hotels. And I remember going back in the late 2000s, and I'm like, what happened to all those hotels? Oh, the hurricane. I'm like, oh, really? And in this one particular girl who I was visiting her family, in her lifetime, she doesn't really remember much about Cable Beach, how it was back then. I'm like, Cable Beach was the bomb. It was all the resorts and those hotels, and you could see the water sports from the street, but none of that was there. And I think they had just gotten all of these millions of dollars to start rebuilding Cable Beach at that time, but it was nothing like it was when I had visited before.
Yeah.
But there are times, but they rebuilt still, and guess what? People still vacation there. People still take cruises that go there. So none of that actually stopped. It continues. But what we have to understand is that even though in our lives, we will have the storms, we will have the cleanup, we will have the rebuilding time, we'll have the reminder, but guess what? We will definitely shine again. The sun will shine. So you don't have to worry about the fact that you're in that storm. Just weather it. Weather the storm. Weather the storm. Don't be afraid of the storm.
Yeah.
Understand it. Understand why you're there. Understand that it won't last always. Whew. That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
That's something. Because, a lot of times we think it's going to go on and on and on and on and on. We really do. We're going to open up right now for anybody who wants to say anything, if you want to share. But this has been let me tell you, it was a difficult topic to get into, because of the fact that, of course, we're dealing with a common situation. We're dealing with something that that people are experiencing right now. And we're dealing with something that, not only experiencing in the natural, but we're experiencing it spiritually and personally. It's a tough season. It's a tough season politically. Our country, our world is in bad shape. In the midst of the hurricane, there was a shooting on an expressway. It's like, stuff that just makes no sense. I didn't even have time to get angry about the fool that was shooting people in Texas, because I was preparing for the hurricane. But when I thought about it, it's like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is a crazy season.
You know what, Anita? I think the storm too remind us how I believe God had wanted this world to be in the first place. Because I don't care where you went, you didn't even know whether it was black or white. Everybody was like, are you okay? You boarded up, So, people were hugging people who probably normally wouldn't even touch people, because we were all, I don't care who you are, where you from.
Exactly.
This side of the track, everybody was in the same path of a hurricane.
You're right.
We were on the same level playing field.
You're right. Me and my neighbor, we talked more than we have talked since they moved here.
Yeah.
I mean, she was asking me every day, and she was scared. She was shaking like a leaf because her husband is in the Coast Guard, and he had to be out. And he was putting up the shutters before he left, and she's there with 2 babies. And she was asking me every day, and I said, listen, my door is open. If you get scared, you can, feel free to come over there because, I've lived through these. I know what this is like.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her some tips. I was like, weather it downstairs. If it hits, come downstairs. Don't try to weather that upstairs. She's like, really? I said, we don't have flooding. We don't have flooding like that here. You'll be fine. You'll be better off downstairs than upstairs. So it was like, stuff like that I was able to share with her. Portia. Hi, Portia.
Hi.
I know you have your mic open. You want to say something?
I'm just taking it all in. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes. Good. It's always a good timing. That's just how God works. I just had a moment of frustration and just overwhelming thoughts. And I looked at the text and I already knew. I knew to expect that. Come on. He never fails. And he works through people like you guys. And I'm just grateful. And I'm all ears.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're on. And hey, we're definitely in prayer all the time for all of our people because we understand storms, they attack everybody. Sure. And, none of us are immune. And, a lot of times, like you're saying, it's perfect timing for you. It's perfect timing for me. It's perfect timing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So be blessed, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Linda, you want to say something? You want me to unmute you? Oh, go ahead. You unmute it. Go ahead.
Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm great. I have thoroughly enjoyed this session. And one thing you got to remember, after the storm, everything is replenished.
Come on.
The things that was dead is now alive because there's life in water.
Come on.
And everything we go through makes us bigger, better, and stronger.
Yep.
And I had put up a comment earlier. In each life, some rain must fall.
Mm-hmm.
As we go along this journey, something is going to die that's going to have to be restored. Amen.
Preach.
And can't be afraid of the storm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And we can also speak to our storm and tell our storms, peace, be still.
Yes.
Come on.
We got that power in our mouth. Amen. God gave it to us. And we have to learn how to use it.
Wow.
Just like girl, I feel like preaching.
I know it. I hear it.
But it was good. I enjoyed it. And you ladies, keep up the good work. And I'm here.
Amen. Amen. Hey, you got Carrie to open up. You got Carrie to open up her window.
I'm telling you.
Amen. So that's how it is though. But she's right because it replenishes and it makes stuff live again.
Yeah.
It brings life. You get those new blossoms and you get that new, there's everything. You have to clean up the debris. You have to rebuild. There's life. There's life after that storm. But we just have to go through it. We have to know that we can weather it. Carrie, talk about that's my BFF. But that's how it is, though. That's how it is. We go through those moments. And when we come out of it, it's like, thank you, God. I survived.
Yeah.
I'm alive. I lived through this. Because I'm telling you, I've been through some things in my life that I didn't think I was going to get out of it. I didn't think I was going to make it. Even, like we talked about that stuff that, those storms that you took yourself into.
Yeah.
You created it. You have nobody to blame for it but yourself. You created that storm, and now you're in the middle of this storm. It's a mess. And The only way you can deal with that is that you have to weather it. You're going to have to go through it. But then you're going to have to clean up after. You have to pick yourself up, and you have to keep moving.
Yeah.
That's it. So good people, hey, like Linda say, you can step right on out, Sharon, and say, peace be still. You can speak to that storm. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. There's power. There's power that comes out of your mouth. Speak to that storm. Speak to that tsunami and say, peace be still. Speak to that situation. Say, peace be still. Speak to that friendship woo-woo and say, peace be still. That foolish friend that decided acting a fool. That's how it is. That's how it is. Oh, man. Okay, dokie. Well, I'm going to stop our recording now.